need to lie about this. We're actually kind of cranking this one out back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of got to get him out so that way Teddy can be free to be with his fucking family. Instead of doing the podcast.
Yeah, none of that important stuff.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right? He's choosing
Don't need
a newborn baby.
No need to triage
podcast.
your issues in life.
Yeah.
A baby,
Yeah, just a fucking
which
baby.
normally comes last on everybody's list.
Yeah, it's the It's on the priority list. It's like about 7 down.
Yeah, sure. So we're cranking this one out back to back. So that's hence the lack of change in our attire. So if that bothers you, just imagine us both dressed in beautiful dresses.
Yeah. I prefer, like
mine is a blouse.
like a mini skirt, but with the top.
We know what you're wearing, bro. We know what you fantasize about. We know what you're wearing.
I don't.
It's a wedding dress. You told me that much.
I don't even know what I fantasize about, dude. I'm a pretty boring fucking person.
Well, I think you'd look great in a wedding dress.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You like in my wedding photos? Did you like that?
I just imagined it.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris.
You imagined me and my wife swapped outfits.
I looked at Lauren. She looked fantastic. Obviously,
oh, yeah, she's gorgeous.
You looked okay. Obviously, you look great. Okay, I've told you this. You look great in the suit. So somehow it worked for you. You look like a Confederate general.
Yeah, I'll post a picture of the Twitter.
No, if you're okay with it, I'll put it up. He genuinely looked like a Confederate judge, like a general.
Like a general.
Yeah. But
they won't take our lands. We stand here today.
Keep slavery around.
No, that's what she did, dude.
But I imagined you would look
incredible.
incredible in the
I'm
dress.
gonna tell you though.
Yeah.
Like when you saw my Victorian suit.
Yeah.
Right. When I was like really skinny. And I had like this Victorian physician suit.
Yeah.
I had kind of like a half beard going on at the time.
Yeah.
When I first tried it on.
Yeah.
And they took pictures. I looked like a fucking Confederate.
Yeah. I don't know if it's your hair.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. My grandfather on my mother's side.
Yeah.
He looks like Stonewall Jackson. Like
I don't know
spot on.
Is that like a
Stonewall.
known
He was
general?
a Confederate. Yeah.
Okay.
He's one of the best Confederate.
I just know the guy who they took off the horse.
Yeah, but he looks
Lee,
like
whatever.
Yeah, he looks like Stonewall Jackson.
I don't want to find out you owned slaves, dude.
No,
back in the day, dude.
My family came over here in the 1920s, brother.
Yeah. Okay. With
the Irish.
I was gonna say potato, but
with the potatoes. Wow, man.
Dude, I don't know how offensive that is, dude.
It's fucking offensive.
Okay, I'm gonna bleep that.
No, you're not gonna bleep it out, man. People are gonna know. Anyways.
Yeah.
It's not that offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. This time we're talking about Jack the Ripper, and it's not like a mythical thing because Jack the Ripper was a real person, but there's a lot of mystery upon who did it. Like there's some theories, and some have some good evidence, some don't. Some theories, but we wanna. This is like an interesting thing I've always wanted to talk about as well as Jack the Ripper.
For sure,
it's an interesting perspective because this dude was fucked up.
Now listen,
whoever it was.
When you came up with this topic, I obviously have heard about Jack the Ripper.
Everybody's heard.
It's part of our like Halloween, whatever. Something comes up.
Yeah,
they've made.
Well, when you think
ad
about
nauseum multiple documentaries.
When you think about Victorian England, man, there's two things you think about. You think about the Industrial Age, and you think about Jack the Ripper.
And I think about the plague and the poverty and the fucking all that mess too.
Which is where this takes place, right?
Exactly. Eastern London, 1888.
1888, East End of London,
the
Whitechapel district, which is the poor district. That's where they had. They also called it the Stink District.
Oh yeah,
because that's where all the factories, the tanneries, the butchers, the docks, just all the taverns. It was densely populated with the poor. It was where a lot of brothels were.
In fact, the murders of this Jack the Ripper murders, were the canonical murders, as otherwise called, actually brought to attention the bleak situation that was in the East End of London. And maybe I know the whole now.
I don't know if you know this.
Yeah,
all these murders took place in 1 square mile.
Correct.
Of this one section.
Yeah. I mean, so what makes it now, as you probably maybe have gathered already or probably heard it before, no suspect was arrested for these murders.
So there were people arrested.
Yeah. I'm saying convicted.
None convicted.
Nobody was convicted.
Arrested.
They have arrested a bunch of them. In fact, so many bad things have happened on the back of this, including horrendous copycats.
There's a lot of copycats after the fact, but we know they're copycats because they didn't have the surgical precision that they
correct. There are a specific MO of the way the murders were like, for anybody who's probably going to get disturbed by some gory events.
Put a big trigger warning now because if like you are made queasy by hearing there's mutilation, disemboweling, a lot of extreme harm to women. If you can't tolerate that, skip this episode. Like as much as we want the viewership, if it's gonna upset you, don't watch this one.
So
listen to this one.
That's a good disclaimer. But what I'm saying is, like, in the point that you were trying to get to, there's a specific MO of how these murders happened. Which of course leads us to believe that these are committed by the same person. Now there are some subtle differences, especially between the first murder and the following 4 or 5. But there is specific things that happened.
There's one similar thing that starts with every single one of them. But the mortician who looked after several of the bodies said most doctors can't remove organs with this surgical precision that he did at the time.
And he got progressively better.
And he got way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
And I'm probably gonna get to this, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but there is one thing, and I'm not gonna mention it right now, that gave me the chills.
Oh yeah, dude.
Right down my back. And it was obviously the gory details of the murders themselves.
Oh yeah.
His precision, his way of avoiding when he's cutting them.
Yeah.
The way he bled them out.
Yeah.
The organs that were missing. All those things are gory, but there's one more thing that freaked me out, and I'm telling you later. Okay.
Well, the fact that really gets me, he left no footprints. No evidence at all. There's only one piece of evidence that has ever been found, and we'll get that when we get to that incident. But all right, so our very first one.
You want to give a brief timeline?
Well, I mean, we might as well just go through it point by point.
Sure.
31st of August, 1888, which is Mary Ann Nichols. She is canonically the first victim of Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
She and all these women have the same traits.
Yes.
They're all alcoholic. They're all pretty much homeless. They lived in the dust houses, so which is like kind of like you rent a room for a night kind of thing.
Yes.
And they're all prostitutes.
Yes.
So they are all alcoholic. So they're all pretty vagrant people.
Well, not necessarily. So here's the thing. That's all true.
Well, but yeah, they're also from failed marriages.
But here's the thing though. It was easy to dismiss them all as like casual prostitutes because that part of the area is so poor that women had to do whatever they had to do to get by. But this woman had actually, some of them, if you looked up their stories, actually were like smart women that just fell on bad times.
Yeah,
But they were right now doing.
Most of them fell on bad times because of alcoholism, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of them, like their husbands left them because of they were alcoholics. Yeah. I think 4 out of 5 of them did. The last one, we don't know much about her because there's just not a lot written. We know what she told people, which is not a lot. She didn't tell people a lot about herself.
For sure.
And
that would be Mary Jane Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No.
That was the last one.
Elizabeth Stride.
Elizabeth Stride would have been the third one, I believe.
No. She's the last one.
You sure?
Yep. I have them all written down. Catherine Eddowes was the 4th.
Okay.
Mary Jane Kelly was the 5th. You're right.
Yeah, Mary Jane Kelly would have been the Elizabeth Stride is the 3rd, I believe. Yeah. You're right. Mary Jane Kelly, obviously. So, but you want to start with Mary Ann Nicole?
Yeah, we got to start at the beginning, right?
Yes. So when was this?
August 31st, 1888.
So everything happened between August and November 1888.
Yeah. Pretty quickly.
This is gonna come important. This fact is gonna be important, I think, for later when you and I go over the potential suspects and sort of try to rule them out. Because there's one suspect, which sort of the timeline is the only thing that sort of we have to place him where the murders were happening, and we'll get to it though. Yeah. But that's just I want everybody to take like a mental note of that timeline.
She was found by Constable John Wilkes. Founder. From this time, there wasn't a lot of. He was just getting started, so it wasn't as extreme as later ones. So her throat was cut, which is common in all the murders. Their throats are always cut from, like, pretty deeply around the neck.
Yeah, he knew how to how to make them bleed profusely.
So all of them are. That's one thing that they all have. Is that their throat was cut. And then another thing is usually he cuts them from their groin to their breastbone. So to disembowel. I from what I saw, I didn't see that he disemboweled.
He did not.
Marianne Nichols.
No.
But he did cut her from groin to breastbone.
Yes. So the only thing that sort of convinced the contemporary policemen then and now modern forensics to potentially sort of give him credit for that murder is the way the body was found.
Yeah.
So in all cases, and he would have they would be prone on their back. Yeah. Their legs would be elevated with their knees up in the air, like there's medically we call it a lithotomy position to deliver a child. Yeah. So it would always look like that's the way he left him. There would be their legs, their knees would be up in the air. With their legs spread open, right, and it was not none of them were raped, as if it was any consolation. Yes, but we'll get to it. But there has been modern profiling of the person by the FBI after as recently as in the 80s, and they do say it is possible that the sexual gratification could come from not just penetrative sex, but from the optics of whatever.
And then. This one isn't a Ripper victim. Oh, and up until this time, Jack the Ripper wasn't called Jack the Ripper. He was called Leather Apron. That was his serial killer name at this point because they didn't know what to call him.
But it was just the one. Why would they call him serial? If it was just
I'm talking about the killer. Like after the second one.
Okay.
Because the note didn't come out until after that.
Okay, yeah.
So they did have another one that they did contribute to Jack the Ripper for a while. Matherine Tauburn. She was stabbed 37 times, but it doesn't fit his MO. Like her throat wasn't cut. She wasn't disemboweled. She wasn't like mutilated in any way. She was just stabbed 37 times.
Which ones happened the same night?
That's the third and fourth.
Yeah.
So the next one, which is the second canonical victim, 8th of September, 1888. Yeah. Which is Ann Chapman. Second victim, also alcohol, prostitute, lived in the dust houses. Similar circumstance, like all these women had similar circumstances.
Yes.
They were all married, they had families, and their husbands were relatively successful. And then they got consumed by alcoholism and it tore their marriage apart. Elizabeth Longsaw saw Annie Chapman with a tall man roughly about 30 minutes before she got murdered. And then, but she just thought she was just picking up a guy.
Yes.
And they walked off together. She said his clothes looked kind of like really well worn and like kind of like messed up kind of clothes. And he had a hat.
And he was holding a parcel.
Yeah.
And they did call him something. There was a name given to him. But that was as far as we know, the only sort of vague description of a man.
Yeah.
And but it just so happens that man happened to have been seen by other people with the same profile by multiple people around that area.
Yeah.
So,
and then her body was found by local resident John Davis.
And what gave me more credence to that description of him, especially him, like. I've always been skeptical of like how do you attribute this murders? Like could it have been a copycat? Like especially with the means that they had then. But it looked like with that third murder,
This is the second.
The disemboweling did not happen.
Yeah.
It was not like it looked like he got interrupted.
That was the third one.
That was the third. I'm talking about the third one.
The ones that happened in 2 nights. Yeah,
yes.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So she again had 2 deep cuts on her throat.
Mm-hmm.
She was cut from groin to breastbone. Now her intestines were lifted out this time. This time she was disemboweled, and he threw her intestines over her right shoulder.
Yeah.
Like as just to get him out of the way. And then parts of her sexual organs were extracted and a piece of her bladder.
Yeah. And this was a recurring theme.
This is when he started kind of really.
Yeah, this is a recurring theme of him specifically removing organs from the body, which also became another theory for he potentially could be a cannibal, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the next Ripper incident, which is not a murder, was September 27th of 1888, when the news agency started receiving notes. One note was penned in red ink, and so the one I didn't read the note.
I did. Is it Dear Boss?
Huh?
Dear Boss? Is that the one?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know that was the first time it was signed Jack the Ripper. Oh. That was penned in red ink. Because previously the news articles were calling him Leather Apron. Because they assumed it was like a butcher. And butchers wore leather aprons back then.
I have read the letter Dear Boss. Yeah. Which most people attribute to, because there were thousands
there
of
was
letters.
A bunch of letters, people taking credit.
Until the 1980s and 80s, the FBI was getting letters from people that like, just crazy.
Yeah. I don't know why someone would want to take.
2 women were convicted.
Yeah. That's weird.
2 women were convicted for having like done something for fake writing, and it's women,
dude. Fucking weird.
Yeah, I know.
So that was the first time. That's where they started calling him Jack the Ripper from that point. That's where the name comes from that letter. And then the next killing happens, which takes place 3 days later on the 30th of September. This is where was the first double murder. Well, the only double murder. So the first one, which was earlier that night, early that morning, Elizabeth Stride, which is the third victim, again alcoholic and a prostitute, lived in the dust houses. Found at 1 a.m. by Louis Dinshute. And from what it seems, because only her throat was cut, she wasn't disemboweled. She wasn't cut from going. It looks like him walking by, because he was transporting goods, so he had like a horse and a buggy or a wagon. Okay. And he was transporting goods. He was trying to get into his yard, and the body was found near the yard, near his yard. And
I thought this was the incidents where this man was fitting the description of Jack the Ripper.
He didn't see anybody else.
I'm saying before, like a couple, like maybe half an hour ago, before that murder, she was seen with this man getting propositioned, but she refusing.
No, that was the next one.
That was
the fourth victim.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the fourth was just. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. Actually, that was the fifth victim.
You sure?
The fifth victim was seen being propositioned.
Okay.
By her friend.
Okay.
And So it seems like he's been disturbed because she was not mutilated. It was just her throat cut. Her abdomen had not been touched at all. So like it seems like him showing up kind of prevented him from doing his work. Yeah. So it seems like he didn't get his fix, so he immediately went out and found another woman.
Fourth Jack the Ripper victim was found the same night.
The fourth victim was Catherine Eddowes. And similar circumstances, alcoholic, prostitute, dust houses. Yeah. Edwin Walks constable found her body. Her face was heavily mutilated. Yeah. On this one, she had a lot of cuts, deliberate cuts on her face. Her eyelids, lips, her nose was removed. She had upside down V's cut on her face and cheeks. Disemboweled. Took her uterus. Her left kidney was removed. Yeah, and then this is when they really, after this incident, this is where they started to really suspect that Jack the Ripper had really anatomical skills. Like
he had a good working knowledge of anatomy.
This is when they really start suspecting him to be either a butcher or some kind of medical professional.
Yeah.
And then this is when they started bringing in suspects for that. This one is the only place where we have any evidence from any of the murders.
Mm-hmm.
So a piece of her apron was cut.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a corner.
Okay.
They matched it up later, and it was found miles away on the East End, covered in blood. Mm-hmm. That's what made it stand out. And they took it and they matched it to her. It was the same cut. It was cut with a knife.
Yeah.
And it was covered in blood.
Yeah.
So this is the only evidence we have from there because he's never left any footprints, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
With blood everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like not leaving any marks or anything that he was there.
Yeah. Got it.
It's fucking crazy. It's like, how did he do it? It's like some kind of ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Or shadow. And the fifth is, I believe, the most gory.
Well, there's something that happened between them.
What happened?
So there's a gap in between the fourth and the fifth murder. So 2 weeks after the murder on Catherine Eddowes, the head of the Vigilance Committee, which was a committee of citizens who would it's kind of like a neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
For the most part. So the head of the Vigilance Committee, Joseph Lusk, received half a kidney and a letter. And I actually have the letter written down here.
Mm-hmm. Is that the from hell?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says, "From hell, Mr. Lusk, Sir Mr. Lusk, I send you half a kidney I took from one woman. The other piece I fried and ate it. It was very nice. I may send you the bloody knife, took it out. It would only wait a while longer. If you would only wait a while longer.
Mm-hmm.
Signed, catch me if you can, Mr. Lusk."
Mm.
And that was the letter sent to him. But the handwriting doesn't match the first letter. This one was kind of like roughly scribbled. I saw pictures of both letters.
Yeah.
The other one was like neatly written out and signed. It looked like very...
And in that letter with the dear boss, he, after taunting the police about you'll never be able to catch me, he actually says, with the next victim, I'm going to send you a piece of the ear. And that was the first victim. I don't know if it's the third or the fourth, where they actually found the body to have been missing the ear. So they were like, oh shit, he wasn't joking.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned the vigilante kind of situation happening. Yeah. Now, we have to give you a picture of what was happening then. This has gripped that century. London was on its toes at this time.
Yeah.
There were people turning on their neighbor, women turning in their husbands.
Yeah.
Because they were out at that time. Yeah. People were going mad. And to be honest with you, what makes this interesting is there were murders happening.
Oh yeah, there's
all over London.
There's 3,000 killings a year, roughly on average.
It is. Life expectancy was a joke then. Yeah. You die quick.
So this is when they started pulling in suspects too. And the three main ones at this time that they brought in, there was Jacob Bisenschmidt, and he was called the Mad Pork Butcher locally. So they thought he was crazy. So they thought maybe he could do it.
I want to tell you something about that when you're done.
Okay. Right. There was William Pickett. He was deranged. He was kind of crazy, but he also had medical knowledge. So they brought him in, and then John Pizer, he was actually arrested, but he wasn't convicted. Yeah. They ended up letting him go. But those are the three main suspects at that time.
Yeah. There are two more that I will mention that
they might have come
with
later.
Contemporary. Oh, there's
there's Mr. Jewett, Tom Welth,
Monet,
Aaron Maminsky.
There's someone.
And then the person that I'll talk about that when I get
your
there.
prime suspect. I'm really
just because it's kind of sus.
No, I got you. I'm really looking forward to hearing your guy, and I have mine as well.
Yeah.
Now, so we've mentioned everybody's up on their toes. Things are not looking good for the east side of London. Yeah. It's going to shit, right? Everybody's nervous. People are turning on their neighbors. There is this guy, I forget his name, a longtime criminal who's had multiple run-ins with the police. Everybody was so on edge this one night. This story gave me a good description of what was happening, right?
Yeah.
the police started chasing this guy because there were like multiple killings that happened. I guess it was the third and the fourth night. His name is Skimmy or whatever. So they start chasing him. People see this guy running, and then the police behind him, and they're like, "Oh, they got Jack the Ripper. Get him!"
So they all chase him.
So everybody's chasing him. They actually had to grab the guy, kind of protect him, get him into the police department. People broke into the police department
and killed him.
No, they waited like everybody like took over the whole station. Like police were trying to calm him down, and then they figured, oh, it's not him. Yeah. He was nowhere near. He had a solid alibi, so they let him go. Yeah, that's how on edge people were, right? They were so on edge. They were willing to fucking murder the first guy they saw running.
Yeah, dude. Like fear makes you do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And now we get to the last victim, and this is the worst.
You know why, right?
So,
you know why, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
This is absolutely the worst killing.
Yeah.
And the most disturbing. So if any of that stuff slightly disturbed you, you probably don't want to listen to this one.
Yeah.
So 9th of November, 1888. This is the last Jack the Ripper killing that they've attributed to him, which was Mary Jane Kelly. Mm-hmm. She was the least known. A lot of people think she was a prostitute, but we don't know, and an alcoholic, but we don't know much about her. We don't know any prior marriages, anything like that. George Hutchinson followed her in a well-dressed man down Dawson Street, and this is where he heard, I guess, he heard the man say, like, will you do it? And she said yes. And then, so that was, I guess, him propositioning her, and her
unfortunately,
and I guess, she unfortunately accepted it. And this was a well-dressed man.
Yeah,
like, he was very well dressed, like a kind of like a rich kind of guy. But she was found in the morning by the rent collector, and this is the most brutal of the killings because he had the most free time with her because he was back at her place. Yes. He wasn't out. All the other ones were out in the streets. Mm-hmm. He had way more access. He had way more time to be meticulous and do what he wanted. And still, no evidence of him left at the scene of this.
Yeah.
Her face was heavily mutilated. Disemboweled. Her neck was severed. The knife. There was knife marks on her vertebrae in her neck because he cut so deep. He nearly severed her head completely. Her skin was stripped from her body and piled on the night table.
Yeah, he had organs next to the body.
Yeah. Organs were laid out all around the apartment.
Yeah.
All around the apartment, like systematically, like except for the heart, which the heart was missing.
Yeah, he took it
from the crime scene. He took the heart. But yeah, this was by far the most brutal murder he had done, and it's just because he had a lot more time. There was no risk of him being caught in the act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These were so as far as heinous crimes go, this has literally captivated criminal history.
Yeah.
There's literally ripperologists that actually just study this.
Yeah.
There is a strong evidence. There is still people that are being named suspects to this day.
Yeah.
We have up to 174 people that sort of, at one point or another, have become, could have been. Now, I'm going to tell you what I found the most chilling about this story.
What's that?
All right. Okay. We're still going to get into what happened afterwards, why they suspect some people, and what the thinking could have been. Remember the three guys that you mentioned? Yeah. They all had something in common, which was mental health issue.
Issues, yeah.
Now, they used to have. We don't have obviously the humanity of medical intervention that we have today, where we take people that have mental, like schizophrenics and purely manic people with borderline personality disorders.
We didn't have any understanding.
It was supposed to be like a police net. They would go around the city, literally like grabbing whoever was crazy looking and put them in an asylum for the rest of their lives. That's what they used to do back in the day. Because the crimes were so bad, they were grabbing every crazy person. They were like, oh, whoever does this has got to be crazy.
Yeah.
So they're just grabbing the first crazy dude they found. Okay, if you were saying your words the wrong way, you were Jack the Ripper.
You could have just been really drunk.
Yeah, slurring his words, or is that guy crazy?
Yeah.
He's crazy. That guy
He's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
No one would slur that badly.
Now they did a modern forensic psych evaluation of the person, looking at the letters purported to be from him. Obviously, there's some doubt there. There's some people that doubt the whole thing.
There's rich people that they've said it is. There's poor people. It's all
it goes back to a newspaper that was trying to sell stories, so they probably potentially sensationalized stories, put evidence around there to make it more compelling. All that aside, but the our FBI did a psych eval, and the qualities they gave him is what make the story chilling. Yeah. They're like, he's an opportunist, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Smart. Okay.
Well, he had to be.
And he would have been terrifyingly normal, is what they said. Yeah. Like, forget the crazy guys you were grabbing.
Yeah.
You should have been looking for the guy that was standing there,
the most
sort of smacking his lips, going, who could ever do this? You know? Yeah. Or the police going like, can you believe this? And it's just a guy, dapper dude, dressed in a Victor tall hat. Yeah. The fact that that guy was capable of committing such crimes and then shutting off and then rejoining society. Yeah. The other thing is the fact that he killed at those specific hours tells us this guy had a life during the day. He would never kill during the day. The guy had a job. Like he would go to a job, and then
absolutely. He killed in the late hours of the night.
Yeah, it was like 1 to 4 to 5 in the morning. It was these things happening. So the guy had a life. He literally had a potentially. Job. Some people were saying there's a theory that the reason that he would position them the way he does is potentially because his wife, because they're assuming he has a normal life. Yeah. His wife could normally probably could not bear children. So it was like doing that. It could be his mother who could have been a prostitute, like sort of one of those.
Things, yeah.
But the fact that this guy could have been normal and just walked among citizens of the time as the A class of people. Yeah. Oh, these are the people, the best among us.
Because he's suspected to be a well-off dude.
Yeah, and then they said they looked at the interviews they had with the people. Yeah. Like looking at the description of the people, and they are almost 100% sure that the police interviewed him. Yeah. Among the thousands they did, he potentially was in there. But he was like so low on the list of
because he was so normal.
So normal. Yeah. But like juxtapose.
He's like, I'm a banker.
Yeah, juxtapose that to the act. Yeah. Which is one of the most heinous crimes ever in recorded history. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it is. So who was your we can go over some of the suspects that they had. There was Mr. Druitt.
Yeah.
I don't know I can't remember what he did. There was Ton Welty. He was a doctor. Mm-hmm. Aaron Maminsky, he was crazy. Like he was just a crazy guy. I don't know what his job was. Mm-hmm. And so who did you have at the top of your bullseye there? Who do you got in your sights?
I have Severin Klosowski.
He was the foreign guy, right?
George Chapman.
Yeah.
He is a Polish-born barber, a wife poisoner. Yeah. He is among all the suspects that we've been talking about. Yeah. Has actually been convicted of triple murder.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you.
Now it doesn't make sense that the guy would change his MO. Yeah. From slashing and dicing to poisoning his wife. Yeah. But the guy that I found to be capable of murdering. Yeah.
So after the last murder, the murder stopped. There were some copycats, but they didn't fit the same MO.
Yes. And that one is the one that. Is it John Druitt? Yeah. Because when he died, they suspected him because he was like a barrister and teacher. Druitt was suggested as a suspect due to his alleged mental instability and suicide shortly after the last one.
Which is why he's like at the top of the list.
Yeah.
But
he died and the murder stopped.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you who I think it is because something else happened.
What happened?
Right. So there's this guy. His name is William Williams. Uh-huh. He was a milkman. Yeah. He was a butcher. Uh-huh. He's been known for violence against women. Yeah. He lived in Whitechapel during the time of the movies. But then a different William was found. Mm-hmm. Same birthplace. Mm-hmm. Same birthday. Same birth time. Mm-hmm. With a family with the exact same birthplaces, birth times, and just different surnames. William Belcher. And he moved away from
to New York,
from Whitechapel.
To where?
Just another place in England.
Oh shit! I thought you were gonna tell me about the New York thing.
No.
Okay.
He didn't move out of the country, but he moved to a different part of England. Because someone was doing lineage. I think this is more recent.
Okay.
So like someone was doing a lineage check, and these two families, the Belchers and the Williamses, have the exact same. Everything's the same except for the surname. So their birthplace, birth time, their first names.
Yeah.
Everything's the same except for the last name. And he's suspiciously moved out of Whitechapel after that time. And of course, during this time, it was very easy to leave a place and change your name.
Yeah.
Because you could just, oh yeah, we've always been.
You could just tell the news city, the sheriff, whatever. Yeah. What's your name?
Yeah. We're the Belchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
is your guy?
It was very easy. Well, I mean, I'm not sure he's my guy.
Yeah.
It's just very suspect.
Yeah.
That he would conveniently leave Whitechapel after the murders, and he's a butcher, so he also has anatomical knowledge.
Some understanding, yeah. Not as precise for a human being, but yeah.
Maybe.
But it's close enough.
Yeah. It's close enough.
What about the New York thing? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, a little bit, but
yeah. So what they're suggesting for those that
Jack the Ripper went to New York.
And then
there.
So he might have sort of fled from Britain.
I don't think so, because I think something would have drastically had happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he would have stopped killing, right?
So there was a murder or two that happened in New York with close MO, but not enough to.
I think it wasn't surgically precise, though.
No.
Right? It was disemboweling, but it was.
There was actually a detective at the time that thinks only 3 of those canonical murders are actually his, and the last would have to be a copycat. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. What about Walter Sickert?
I didn't hear about him.
Walter Sickert is an artist. Okay. Yeah. There's actually an author who wrote a whole book on him. Yeah. Apparently hated by ripperologists for like coming into the whole rabbit hole and suddenly saying like, case closed. Because I think there's like 5 authors that wrote a book and they're like, case closed. Yeah. That's the killer. And ripperologists just like, we've been doing this for a while. You don't say that. So anyways, this Sickert guy, he's an artist. Here's the creepy shit about this guy.
What's up?
He's an artist.
Oh, that's the creepy part?
No.
Well, you said, here's the creepy part about this guy. Hear me out.
I was going to finish.
He's an artist.
He's a dude.
Guy has a dick.
He's an artist who paints.
Yeah.
They look at his paintings.
And they're the
disemboweled naked women.
Yeah.
Which are eerily similar to what we know.
Gotcha.
Now, one can maybe say, oh, the guy is just cashing in on the story, the headlines. Yeah. But hey, dude, what are you doing? There's one description of a painting where it's a girl that is disemboweled at the corner of the room. There's a guy with his bloody hands and his face is in his hands at the corner doing this number.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that sort of exonerates this guy, but I mean, like, the only thing that maybe slightly removes him from this situation, where you didn't say,
he was 4 when these murders happened.
Yeah, the only thing that would remove him from the situation is the way he named the painting. Yeah. It's like, honey, how are we going to pay? What are we going to do for rent this month? Is whatever the title is, whatever. Which obviously makes it's like a sort of like a play on how dire the situation is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But my guy, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude, there's some crazy fucking people out there.
Like, what are you doing?
I don't know, but yeah, like, this is like one of the, because we don't know. We still don't know really who did it. There's some suspected people, and there's some strong evidence towards other people, but we don't know definitively. It's because forensic scientists at the time was like nothing. There was no fingerprint getting. There was no.
Oh, lovely you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper murders are credited for being the beginning of modern forensic investigation.
Well, yeah, because they...
And here is a creepy thing that I'm going to do now. If I find it, I'm going to put a picture. The first ever crime scene investigation picture.
Yeah.
Of a murdered body.
It was that one, wasn't it?
The fifth.
The fifth one, yeah. It was
I'm
the
gonna
fifth
put
one.
it right here.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, don't do that.
No, I gotta put it there.
Gross, dude.
You think?
That's
Chris says that. No,
that's too much.
I'm not gonna put it.
That's
I'm gonna put instead of when I said I'm gonna put it here, I'm gonna put a flower or something. Actually, I'm gonna put nothing.
It's in my head.
Could have been.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much.
Yeah, but that was the first time they ever took a picture of a crime scene, and
I mean,
and that was by far the worst one.
It's because like no one had ever seen anything like that before.
No,
like no murder had ever been that extreme.
Yeah,
like where the person was literally dissected and just splayed all over a room. It's disgusting. There's no other fucking word for it. But it's crazy. Like, but it's interesting. Like, he's not even the first serial killer in history, but
it's just the MO of the murders.
The
victims were helpless women that it was a crime of opportunity. Yeah,
maybe one day, because I know about the first serial killer, the very first one that we've ever had.
What was that?
And I'll talk about it later.
Oh,
he was a big con artist, and he had several wives, and he had hotels and stuff.
I thought it was the brothers.
No. It was one man.
Okay.
He was the very first serial killer. Or either that, or he's America's first serial killer. I can't remember, because he came over from London to America. But anyways, we'll get into that another day. But yeah, it's just like the murders get gradually more and more disturbing.
Yeah. Who was killed on September 27th?
September 27th?
Do you remember? Because something interesting happens.
September 27th was the news agency. No one was killed.
The
30th was...
Who was the 30th? The second victim,
murder.
right?
It was the third.
The third?
It was the third and the fourth.
Yeah, so
the 8th was the second.
So here is do you have more to add to the story? What else?
No, that's the end of the timeline, really.
Yeah. Well, here is the famous letter, Dear Boss.
Okay, go ahead.
This was sent to the cops. It got delivered to them on the 27th.
Of September.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So 2 notes went out on the same day. That's crazy.
And then on the 30th with the next victim.
Yeah.
3 days later, which will come in, which will be important for what I'm about to mention. So it starts out, Dear Boss.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the first letter. 27th.
Yeah.
The second letter came out after.
He said, Dear Boss, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I have laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. That joke about leather apron gave me real fits. I'm down on horse and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled. Grand work the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me now? I love my work and want to start again. You will soon hear from me with my funny little games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle over the last job to write with, but it went thick like glue and I can't use it. He's talking about the blood.
Yeah.
Red ink is fit enough to, I hope, haha. The next job I do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send it to the police officers just for jolly. Wouldn't you? Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right now. If I get a chance. Good luck. Truly, Jack the Ripper. So this was sent out on the 27th, and the 30th, the victim had no ears.
Yeah.
So this guy was one demented motherfucker, bro.
Yeah, he was. It's kind of like another killer that was never caught, the Zodiac killer.
Mm.
Remember? Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, I mean, they made the movie.
Yeah. This is fucking that's fucking story.
Yeah. It seems to me there's like a sociopathic tendency of a human being. Once there's a line, once they cross a line, and they don't come often.
No.
But when they do, they truly are capable of some gory horror, dude.
Yeah.
And there's more you could do to make it shocking.
And then like after the fact, that when people try to catch him, that makes it more of a game. I think to them. It's just like the cat and mouse kind of thing. It's like now they're trying to kind of leave clues. Like the Zodiac Killer left notes and like stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing about being
figure out who did it.
Yeah, a serial killer will get off of just as much as the killings.
Yeah,
because the killings get boring after a certain point. They start getting off of the cat and mouse game.
Yeah,
the idea of notoriety.
Yeah, and
getting away with it, having given you as much evidence as possible, but sort of laughing in your face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I've given you the knife, the freaking I've written my name on top of the thing. You even seen my face, but you're still not gonna catch me. Yeah. That becomes the game, which sort of, kind of puts the pep in their step. Yeah. So to speak.
It's fucking weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it's really weird.
It's weird. The human mind's a crazy fucking thing.
Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing. Like, I give you a scenario, right? Here's a scenario. A murder happened of a lady. She was by herself. Mm-hmm. She got mutilated. Organs are missing. Her face is filleted. Okay, no skin on her. There's like her head is decapitated just on the side. Mm-hmm. There's one other hellish motherfucker who can up the ante and make it even worse. Like, you can't imagine, what is a more worse way to go? And there's,
there is.
Hold my knife. Yeah. And some other motherfucker comes up and that's what Jack the Ripper did.
Serial killer, hold my beer. Hold my knife.
I mean, some motherfucker comes along and actually ups the ante and makes it even worse.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Jack the Ripper did for me. Yeah. Like, the first...
Well, it's like he progressively...
got more worse. Gory. Like, I am fully convinced...
In a short span of time, too. Because this was like... Yeah, it took place over, 2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a short span of time where this... And the first 4 killings were done relatively close to each other. Yeah. The last one was a little bit further out.
Yeah, that's why the detective thinks it might not be his. But, dude...
Well, it's too...
Well, the copycat thing is just, but that copycat would have to be like just such a coincidence that he was surgically really good.
Yeah, as expertly as. Yeah. It's like, it's just very unlikely.
It just reminds me of the whole.
It's very unlikely that one's a copycat. It had to be. It had to be him.
I think so too. And it was just that one detective I read about.
Unless there was other killings that we just didn't know about, right? Between the 4th and 5th. Yeah. Because it's a gap, and he progressively got. Like drastically between the 4th one and that last one, way more was done, right? Like in between the two, comparative wise, fucking nuts.
It's a wild time.
Yeah. So, is there some killings that we might have missed? Is there more? Because I would feel like there's this guy, like the amount of stuff that happened. There's got to be at least 2 bodies between that. Yeah. At least. So
yeah,
there's bodies.
This requires me to sort of like put myself in the way how a serial killer would think.
Because like
I don't want to do that.
You can see the steady escalation between the other ones, but then there's just a massive spike between 4 and 5.
Yeah,
of like what happened.
Yeah,
like that. So I'm thinking that he would stay at a steady incline instead of bam.
Like you said though, him having the space to himself, the time uninterrupted.
Yeah, that could also have been
that could have been the contributing factor. I just generally find we're happy. It's disturbing as fuck. Yeah. I'm glad that we're done. Yeah. I'm glad that we don't live in that era.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad that serial killers don't get away with it as much because of DNA and shit.
Yeah, they can't. There's way too much. There's cameras everywhere. Everybody has phone cameras. There's
DNA.
DNA. It's just everything, right? Like, you literally had to rely on patrolmen to catch things back then.
If they didn't catch you red-handed, you were not caught.
Yeah, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, they do say they're pretty positive about them potentially having interviewed the guy.
Yeah,
but they probably completely missing it because they were looking for a crazy guy.
He probably went there.
Yeah,
and wanted to be interviewed to see if he could be. Yes. To see if they would.
Oh, for sure, I see that happening.
He probably just showed up and was like,
yeah,
interview me.
I want to help.
Yeah, I want to help. Interview me. And then they didn't catch him. Yeah, dude, it's nuts.
And he was hard as a rock.
Yeah, probably. It's like, probably, dude. The guy's demented.
Yeah, it's like I'm in the lion's den right now, but nobody knows.
Yeah, because he knew. Like, I'm pretty sure he knew he was gonna get caught. He's too normal on the outside.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
dude, listen to me. I'm not scared of many things in life.
Yeah,
I'm scared
just
of
white people.
I love white people. I'm scared of people that have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm scared of people that are capable of shifting.
Well, when people have nothing to lose, they usually get pushed to that point. He wasn't. I don't think he was pushed.
No, I'm giving like a list for you.
Yeah.
But people that have nothing to lose could ruin your fucking day.
Oh yeah.
And it's nothing for them, but your shit is out there now.
Yeah.
And also people that can shift between personalities like so easily. Yeah, they'll be like sociopathic here, but then they're like here normal to you. Mm-hmm. But they're so that kind of darkness scares the shit out of me, dude. Like, come on,
darkness I have inside.
Yeah, I mean, like overtly stupid people, I love. Overtly idiots, like I like that. Overtly evil people, you can avoid them. Yeah. But a person who's like a wolf in a ship's like
clothing,
kind of situation,
like me,
in a Chernobyl.
Like me, Teddy.
No, I think you're a sweetheart. I don't think you'd hurt me.
I'm a pretty nice guy.
No, I don't. First of all, I don't think you can get away with murder.
No, probably not.
Two, you have a super sensitive, conscious, like sort of constantly speaking to you. Yeah. You would never do anything bad.
No,
and,
I wouldn't
live with it.
I wouldn't kill anybody outside of self-defense.
But if you were to do some serially kind of,
no, that's
come on, let's just talk about it.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to think. I don't think there's any way I could get there mentally, right,
bro? And this hypothetical, I'm
already
just
there.
give it
You're
5 minutes.
There.
Just give it 5 minutes, because I'm there already, dude. I don't want to be the only.
You're already there where you're a serial killer.
You've seen Mickelson's Hannibal. Yeah, I've told you to watch it when you get.
No, I don't.
Hannibal the series.
I don't watch it.
Now listen.
I was watching House, dude.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the bleak murders.
Well, 1 second.
Yeah.
I gotta do a quick fuck you to Hulu.
Okay.
For pulling House.
Because Hulu's
not Hulu.
The
Amazon Prime. Yeah. Fuck you, Amazon Prime. I was in the middle of watching House. You pulled that shit. So you can take this. You can sit and spin on that. Fuck you, Amazon Prime.
We don't condone this kind of Jack the Ripper kind of language. We don't do this.
That's the kind of shit that'll push me to kill.
No, I was going to tell you about Hannibal.
Yeah.
And this is maybe to say something about me, but if it weren't for the fucking Bruce, super
the fictional serial killer Hannibal.
Oh god, it was horrible. But they've romanticized the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy is clean.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cesspool clean.
Well, like
his house is super organized. He is smart.
Did you see?
He's a doctor.
Well, yeah, he's a psychiatrist, right?
He was a psychiatrist. Yeah. He's an articulate therapist. He understands the human psyche.
Yeah.
He knows what you're thinking before you're thinking it. So the guy has a window into another person's soul, even before you can whatever. You know what I'm saying? So he has an advantage over you.
I don't.
The way he cooks is exquisite. Now the ingredient is questionable.
It's just questionable.
But hold up, dude. The food. I'm not saying anything, but if I weren't told, that one is little Frankie over there.
Human meat.
Like the guy is flambeing shit, dude. He's chiffonading like a.
So do you like that depiction better, or do you like Anthony Hopkins' depiction?
Oh, I love Mickelson's. Hopkins was great, legend. But
dude, I love Anthony
because
Hopkins.
he came up with the whole mask, the demeanor, like he made that character.
Did you watch Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah. So
like you can tell like he's clean the way he keeps his cell, right?
Yeah.
It's very organized with his classical music. You can tell what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
Like he enjoys the quote unquote finer things of life.
Dude, I want Mickelson's kitchen, Hannibal's kitchen. I want it. That's my dream kitchen. Not the stuff in the fridge.
I want you to tell like a contractor. Do you know?
It's gonna sound weird. It's gonna sound weird.
It's gonna sound. You're not gonna like the way this sounds, but. You know Hannibal Lecter's kitchen.
Hannibal who?
I really like that.
Bro,
I like that aesthetic.
I'm gonna tell you one more thing, and it's gonna freak you out.
Are you Hannibal?
No. When I cook,
are you gonna eat me?
I cook every day almost. Yes. I like classical music.
Yeah, do you listen to classical music while you cook? Yeah. You fucking creepo.
And it's entirely inspired by Hannibal doing that. But the reason is, it's just a beautiful symphony.
I don't know if I can believe you do, because when I came over here today, you were listening to what, One Direction?
I think it was Coldplay.
No, the baby oh.
Oh, that was for Bieber? Alice, dude. My daughter loves Justin Bieber.
Yeah, it was for his daughter.
I'm not a believer. But in any case, I think Hannibal was cool.
It's a good thing he's not real.
I don't know, dude. I like the brain. The human mind is capable of some amazing things.
It's interesting. He's an interesting person.
Do you think darkness kind of goes hand in hand with smartness, like IQ, like IQ?
Not necessarily.
Do they get bored?
Maybe. Like I can see you getting to the point where you're so successful, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of things mean nothing. Like
Epstein's Island,
right? Elon Musk, right? Money means nothing to him, right?
Yeah.
At this point of his
what do
life.
you do to excite yourself?
It's just like it's like
you can literally.
It's just
buy
like
anything.
when you ever watch The Purge?
Yeah.
So like at the point where the
like
rich people
year,
abduct the people at the end to hunt them or whatever.
Yeah.
Or to have them like they're in that maze.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what do vastly rich people where the things that excite normal people because we don't have access to it.
Yeah.
That doesn't give them anything anymore because they've been experiencing it their entire life. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like you got to keep pushing that boundary.
Yes.
To do weird, to maybe even get outside the bounds of legality.
Oh, shoot. Which brings me, dude, to the one thing that we forgot about Jack the Ripper.
What?
The conspiracies, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Guess who was implicated? The most conspiratorial conspiracy?
Is it Hitler?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Wrong timeline.
I thought we had him, man. I thought we had him. Tie
dude,
Hitler to the
royal family.
Oh, the royal family? I don't think so, to be honest with you.
So some theories suggest that the killer was protected or shielded by members of the British royal family or high-ranking officials, leading to the cover-up.
I'm not saying it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think...
After Prince Andrew, dude?
I don't know. I just don't see anything...
It's just, at the time, there were other things that happened in the royal family.
And I'm not saying he couldn't change their clothes, but I don't think any fucking royalty would go to fucking Whitechapel.
Well, that's the thing.
Even to kill.
So that's the thing. That's what actually gives it credence for me. What does someone who has everything want?
Well, it's just like, do you think Paris Hilton would come to Temple, Texas?
Well, what if Paris Hilton is bored of L.A.? Why do you think most rich, powerful men like masochism? Sadists. Like, why do they think they enjoy being...
I get,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a kink, though. That's a kink.
It's a kink. But kinks become a thing because they have everything. They can screw anyone.
Because they're dominant in their real life.
Yeah, so what excites you is to come down to the masses, right? Come down to the masses, do whatever, and then go back to your village and you're like protected. Then how come...
I understand what you're saying, right? But there's still like...
Oh, it's a conspiracy.
But like that's different than... Yeah. Because you're doing that in the confines of your own home.
Yeah.
Right? So it's still a quote-unquote rich place. If you're rich and powerful, you're still in your rich and powerful house. You're just experiencing something different. I don't literally think the royal family who's accustomed to fine living would walk the dirty streets of Whitechapel.
But that's the exciting. That's the kink.
I think they would. I don't think they would go there. I think they would kill in a richer area.
Why do you think Prince Andrews goes to Epstein's Island?
I think they would kill. Okay, but from what we know, Epstein's Island is pretty fucking lavish.
But he has children there.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's still a lavish place, right?
I mean,
I'm just saying, if you're accustomed to that, I don't think you're going to go slum it to fit your kink. I think you're going to go to a place.
Oh, I disagree, but
I don't think you're going to go to
the
dirty drug, alcohol-infested, whore-infested.
That's exactly streets. Where you want to go. That's because that's so foreign to you. That's the only exciting thing that's happening out there.
Because Epstein's Island is only mentally like that.
Maybe that might have been a bad example.
Mentally
I'll grant that might have been a bad example. But listen to me. I am convinced, like Buddha, dude.
Yeah.
Not Buddha, but who's the
Gandhi?
No, the other guy who became Buddha. I think is the guy who was super rich. Yeah. Looked down through out his window and he saw a guy who was a kid, some malnourished dude, and another dead corpse, and he was like, "Oh, the meaning of life has got to be more than being rich."
Yeah.
Went on this expedition to find his true self, became transcendental, whatever.
Yeah, that was Buddha.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. I don't
think so.
Prince Henry's great.
Yeah, I don't think so, bro.
Was looked out and it's like, I have everything here. Whenever I ask, I get it. Dude, this is the Mothman theory, like with the moth and the guy.
Yeah.
All right, this is my thing right now, friend. This
guy's fucking him off.
It's like, it's Birmingham Palace is like looking out the windows like, oh, cracky. Blimey. That's my British accent. And it's like, oh,
crikey.
Look at all those prostitutes out there. It's like, but
do you think he can see the prostitutes from his window?
It's high up there, dude. Whatever. And it's like, okay, so he's like,
so high up he wouldn't be able to see them.
Okay, here's another one. So they bring him. So he's like, bring me the prostitutes, and they bring a bunch of prostitutes in there. He's like, so you're too clean. It's like, I like it dirty. It's like, why don't you go to the? And they're like, why don't you go to the east side of London? Listen to me, dude.
Bro.
Look, why don't you go to the east side of London? It's like, where? Because he doesn't know. Like, what'd you say, little daughter? Whatever her name is.
Little daughter.
Because the guy's a creep. And then he goes to there and is like, oh, shit, this is the place.
Yeah.
But he's like, why fuck them? But I can kill him. Right? He gets a taste. Right after he's done, he leaves that zip code.
Yeah.
Goes to the other cool zip code. Nobody ever thinks the guy from that zip code is going to come here and slum it like you did. If you were a detective then, you'd have caught shit, dude.
I'm not a detective, period.
I'm saying if you were a detective then, the guy would have...
No, because
scot-free.
The detectives at the time couldn't catch him.
Nobody caught him.
Yeah.
Because they were looking at the poor crazies. I would have looked at the normal 1%... are always the ones.
All right, come on, let's be realistic here. In the time frame, you probably would have been looking for the crazies too.
Yeah, it's just the conspiracy.
You wouldn't have thought outside the box.
Oh, you know what other conspiracy is there though?
What?
Freemasons.
Oh, the Freemasons. I think that has more credence than the royal.
Oh shit, maybe. There's the Jewish one, but we're not gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about
the Jews are just being blamed for everything nowadays.
Everybody's just scapegoat.
Jews. Yeah, it's Jews scapegoats.
I like the Jays, bro.
Yeah, dude. You're cool with me.
All right, that's it for me. Do you have anything more?
I ain't got anything more. You can catch us at our regular socials, Twitter at A Burley Podcast, Facebook, not Instagram. For some reason, we can't get our Instagram account back. YouTube, Rumble. Check out our sponsor, Coffee Brand Coffee. Go to coffeebrandcoffee.com. Use promo code Barely BARELY at checkout. Save 5%. And we'll check you next week.
Holla. Thanks, brother.